Really interesting opening to today's sessions. Our next session is Tech Odyssey Journey into the Future of Trading, with technology transforming every aspect of the industry. Here we'll discover the powerful tools and strategies that are reshaping how trades are executed and how experiences are crafted. From next-gen algorithms that refine trading strategies to user-friendly platforms that enhance client management, the future is about seamless integration and unparalleled efficiency. These industry leaders will share insights on the latest advancements that promise to redefine what's possible in online trading. Our panelists for this session are Luka Knezic, co-founder of Tradelocker; Stelios Thrasyvoulou, Group CTIO of CFI Financial Group; Andrew Sachs, Chief Product Officer, TraderEvolution Global; Dennis Weissert, Head of Technology Business Development at ISAM Securities. And our moderator is Muthukumaran Ramachandran, Chief Product Officer at FYNXT. Please join me in welcoming them. Welcome.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Muthukumaran, Chief Product Officer of FYNXT. We're a Singapore-based fintech company providing digital front office for multi-asset brokers. So I'd like to introduce our esteemed panelists today, who has been a pioneer in, of course, part of, shaping the next generation trading platform technology. So I'll let them introduce quickly. So, Luka, you can get started.
Hi guys, Luka from Tradelocker. We're just another next-gen platform. Started or launched over 1.5 years ago, growing quickly, working with brokers and prop firms, and we have a large community that supports us, and we are here to just help the ecosystem, grow the ecosystem, help everybody find what they want easier, and not to just be another tech provider, but just to help everybody grow and traders trade more efficiently.
Thanks, Luka. Andrew.
Thank you, Muta. Hello, everybody. I'm Andrew. I am Chief Product Officer at TraderEvolution Global, which is a multi-asset, back-end first trading platform software company. We make a trading platform which is end-to-end, starting with the back-end, which is a comprehensive back-end to handle any asset class, which is actually deployed onto the brokerage. So it gives you the same level of control as if you had built your own system. So I'm looking forward to speaking with everybody here today.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Stelios Thrasyvoulou. Thank you for coming and joining us in this interesting discussion. I'm the Group CTIO at CFI Financial, one of the leading brokers in the MENA region and one of the fastest growing brokers globally. I'm basically responsible for setting up and building the tech strategy with my team. Some of them, I see them right here. I promised free lunch, so anyway, it's great to be here with everyone, and I'm looking forward to this discussion.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. With ISAM Securities, we are a liquidity provider, market maker, and technology provider. I take care of the technology and the strategy there. In the industry, I checked today around 15 years, started in a bank in Germany, worked for a broker who became Prime of Prime, and then worked in fintech, and I'm very happy that I now work at ISAM, and we have the liquidity knowledge, the institutional knowledge, and the retail knowledge. So did the full life cycle, and I'm now at a company who can facilitate all of this. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys. So now coming to the topic, so we have we're going to talk about the journey of future trading platforms today. So when you talk about the journey, we want to start with a foundational question, right? So how to build such a future trading platform, and what is the foundation that is required for a technology provider or a broker who's building or planning to build a trading platforms of with a new tech stacks and with new teams and aspects. So that brings to the question, right? How important is to focus on building the right foundations, like team, tech stacks, process. When scaling a trading organization, how do these fundamentals pave the way for meaningful innovations in the industry? So I would start with Dennis. Yeah.
Thank you. So foundation is key. I think we all agree on this. And we do something very interesting in the company, which I personally love. So what we do is we hire heads and leads and managers who want to be hand-on again, who want to be individual contributor. And then it's a little bit like with a trading system. You have the best and the fastest, and this is how we build the foundation with getting knowledge of team members who have the experience but who are not tired, who care, who want to do things, who want to be hands-on. And then we peer these team members from different parts of the industry. So for example, someone from the hedge fund with someone from the retail industry or someone from the bank. And then you get the knowledge of different parts of the industry and working together and really want to do something. So I think the team is a big part of the foundation and the knowledge they have gathered over the years. And then it comes to a level which seniors and managers like and which is important to scale. You automate as much as you can. So Stelios, we talked about this. I think you agree with me on the automation part.
Exactly. And interesting insights, Dennis. I think nothing is more important than setting up the right foundations. And I see a lot of companies and a lot of brokerages struggling with setting up the right infrastructure, having the right people, and having clear responsibilities in their organizations. I think having the right foundations is actually what builds up to being able to innovate. And I do believe that innovation is not really, the one big aha moment. Innovation is more about steps. It's more about consistency. Innovation is more about iterations and being able to think of how to be successful over periods, like your monthly reviews, your quarterly reviews, etc., etc. That builds up to innovation. And I believe any company that is serious about becoming a strong player in this industry, and any company that is serious about their technology, they have to take a very big account into how to prepare for that. So, for example, if your logs and your systems are not structured well, how can you be doing machine learning and anomaly detection later on? How can your systems detect the anomalies if you don't have the right structure in logs and uniform logs and logs that can be read by your systems and not needing someone to review them manually? So that's something important. If you don't have your data in a warehouse or a lake house, how can you be in a position to innovate using machine learning, right? How can you do customer segmentation? How can you do all of this stuff that people are talking about right now? But to be fair and to be honest, I don't think a lot of organizations are ready to do that, just because of the fact that they don't have the foundations built up correctly. And all of the things that we are fortunate to have done at CFI is having the right people, the right people in the right positions and being clear, and also have an overall understanding with all the stakeholders that this actually takes time. It's not something that happens over in a day or in a month. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of hard work. So, but the hard work does actually pay off. And I do believe that given time and given the right strategy and setting up the right tactics, you can be in a position to innovate consistently and in a compound approach.
Yeah,
That's
thanks, Stelios. I think when we talk about strategies, what are some of the practical strategies that you guys follow, Andrew, on setting up a foundational team? If you could share some insights. Yeah.
I think we're going through what's happening right now over the last year maybe is we're going through another technological revolution. You could perhaps I call it the new internet. We're witnessing, not just in our industry sector, but in general, the way that the end user accesses information and interacts with other parties and even applications and so forth is is really different to how it was just 3 or 4 years ago. So what you can see, where does that relate to a fintech environment, is that the existing company, there are now quite a lot of companies around, brokerages I mean, who are starting to invest in looking at their own, developing their own front end, their own third-party dynamic tools. However, there are some very well-established and well-known companies that are providing what we would call a front-end first experience. And why do they do that? I mean, maybe TradingView is probably one of the prominent examples of this, but there are other companies that do it, and some large trading platform technology providers. And they do it because it's all about the community. They are developing communities. So you have the TradingView community, which follows almost religiously the TradingView website. Then you have other such companies. I mean, Luka, for example, you probably agree that Tradelocker also has a community behind, and it's very important to the Tradelocker community is the front-end interface of trade. It's very important. So it's kind of all about the community-driven way of doing things. This is a relatively interesting turning point where we have now this community-driven aspect will likely be developed further in the year ahead, because we now see the onset of AI and other such tools which give the users a way of looking at the internet differently. So there's that. So I suppose the very important way to look at structuring the technology of a retail brokerage right now is to look at that and to then consider the back end as well. To have a look at the back end infrastructure, because there are lots of ways of connecting these community-driven portals and websites and services to your brokerage. However, it requires something of a fragmented back-end series of back-ends, and therefore is resource hungry. The really way to consider it is to look at having one single back-end which is multifunctional and allows full access to absolutely everything, and connect all of those community-driven front ends to it. So you have the best of both, if you see what I mean. You have like a community-driven access to all of those communities, and the best of both in the respect that you've got full control over a back end which is not fragmented and using up a lot of internal resources. I think that is a really important direction to consider at the moment in the brokerage sector.
Yeah, so monolith tech stacks ensure adaptability. So Luka, what's your thoughts on the foundation of building the teams?
So the first question was basically how to build a trading platform. So who here has interest in building a trading platform? 3, 4 people. So obviously it's expensive, it's not easy. So you can go in the details on how to build it. We won't solve this on this panel, but all the tech right now exists. You can do it. But the problem is not in the tech, because in the next 5 years, you're going to be able to launch a platform, and everybody will be able to launch a platform pretty quickly. The problem here is how to have traders that want that trading platform. I think that's the problem and everybody here needs to solve. Because there are trading platforms already, and there will be, but that's, I think, the better focus.
Do you think, Luka, that's interesting you should say that. I agree with you. Do you think that we will start to see traders, end users, actual traders, start to build their own trading platform interfaces? Because nowadays you don't necessarily, we're seeing it where there might be less engineers, less software engineers in the whole software engineering industry in general, because the AI aspect of being able to code will make it easy for traders to develop their own front-end interfaces, and therefore you will be able to, as long as there's a brokerage has an API, a very developed API capability, traders will become software engineers and develop their own interfaces, which mean that you'll see all manner of different kinds of trading interfaces. A trader won't just come along and say, I want to be a trader with you. They'll say, I'm a trader, here's my trading platform that I developed, I want to connect it to your brokerage. You think that's possible?
In a very simple answer, yes. We're working on it on Tradelocker, so you can use basically AI. For now, you can develop your own algos, but soon you'll be able to develop your widgets and add them to the platform.
Yeah, I think, thanks for that inputs. So AI and build versus buy is coming up in the next questions. I want to keep the sessions. I think now we just talked about the foundation, which is more about like Stelios mentioned, cross-functional team, modular tech stacks. Andrew did mention cloud adoption is another important key aspects for setting the foundation right to build the new platforms new platforms that you want to offer to your customers. So now that brings me the second question, where as a panel members, please, I think, share your insights more from your experience background, but that would add more value to the panel. So if you ask, that brings me the second question is about what specific technology brokers are adopting, actively implementing today, and where do you see the holding back in terms of mass adoption? So that first, let me go to Stelios. What's your thought on this particular?
Great question.
Yeah.
So I think I would answer it in two ways. One is what are they doing now, and I also will share what I think they should be doing, because not exactly what is being done right now is what we should be doing, in my opinion. So I see definitely big adoption and maturity when it comes to cloud technology. We see a lot of providers and brokers working with cloud infra like AWS, GCP, et cetera, et cetera. We also see a lot of emphasis on machine learning and AI, and then a lot of the effort is being made to enhance and have better observability and more control over risk management and risk monitoring. I think these are the main categories now. Of course, we see adoption of AI, and somewhere where I think there is a big area where AI can be adopted is software development. And we see tools like Anthropic Claude, even ChatGPT, GitHub's Copilot. Those tools can be used by software developers and can enhance and automate a lot of the development process. Now, where do I see the lack in adoption? Of course, when it comes to trading, you cannot just go and deploy your software anywhere in the cloud, right? So when we look at AWS or GCP, then the complexity becomes bigger when you care about trading and about the inherent aspect of trading and customer satisfaction in trading, which is speed. So latency is an inherent factor that has to be applied into trading, and you have to be close and co-located, as we say, with your liquidity providers, and have as much as possible a fast pricing, so an execution. So in order to adopt cloud solutions for trading specifically, there's still work to be done. I mean, it's not something that has matured, but when we're talking about deploying an API for client registration or for your client portals, then of course you can do that by using also CDN providers like Cloudflare, etc. There is also, I think, lack of talent when it comes to machine learning and AI, especially in doing production-ready things. This is what I see when I interview people, being able to understand the theory from putting that into practice, and making sure that what you deploy into production is actually bringing some sort of ROI or some sort of success to your business. That's a whole different discussion. That's a whole
Thanks,
different
Stelios.
thing.
From a business perspective, Dennis and Andrew add some points on what really matters and where do you see these adoptions are going through.
Yeah, I would like to add something. Thank you. So I agree with what you said. It's the challenge is the fit for purpose, and you need to understand what you're doing and what the system is doing to decide where it's fit for purpose. And you mentioned a few things. So, for example, your trading should be centralized and fast for the main asset classes. So there you choose one solution. Then, for example, cloud is amazing for DDoS protection, best in class. It's amazing for data distribution across to your clients globally. Or if you talk about decentralization, that can be very interesting for trade reporting, for deposit and withdrawal, for this kind of thing. So the challenge is to understand all the new technologies and use them in the right way, and then have hybrid models and have solutions where you combine whatever solution does best for purpose. So I think that's where your teams are challenged, to learn everything, understand everything, and then find a place for each of the technology.
Andrew?
Yeah, I think so. It's even getting to the point now where a lot of companies are not only talking about building their own front-to-back system, but they're actually doing it. Recently, about 6 months ago, I was in a meeting in Australia with a very well-known large retail brokerage, and they have just finished building their own full front-end and back-end complete trading system, which will put them in a similar position to someone like Saxo Bank or CMC Markets. Now, I asked the CTO, how long did that take you? Because we know that it's a very big endeavor. Front-end trading platform, I think we will see, as I said before, retail traders being able to build their own interfaces. But building a full system from back-end is very, very complex. So it took them 7 years, and it had 100 developers on site for 7 years. Now that's probably 50 to 60 million dollars worth of resources. However, there's more to consider, because a 7-year development cycle in this current rapidly developing era means that you have to be careful not to be obsolete as you develop. So it could end up being a resource-hungry way to never finish, because it will the technology keep getting away from you. So that's one aspect. So some companies are doing that. Some of them are looking to have some sort of a hybrid model where they will take an off-the-shelf backend, deploy it onto their own infrastructure, and then it will put them in a position of control. But of course, the other aspect to consider is the way the market has changed. There is now a high demand for various different asset classes like futures and equities and so forth, listed products, which are not necessarily, every broker in the world knows that doing listed derivatives on exchange is not so much margin in it as there would be in OTC products like CFDs. However, it's much more sustainable long term. You have a longer term client, you have a different type of customer, you have the ability to consider that the regulatory aspect in Western countries now, where they are looking at CFDs and trying to find out how you price. If you're executing through a centralized exchange, then that question goes away. And of course, it's a longer term. So we're seeing brokerages. In fact, there was one brokerage in Cyprus which completely stopped offering CFDs altogether in its European market and just offered stocks and futures. And the reason they could do that was because they were able to buy the source code of their platform, and they therefore own their own platform, were able to actually control what they offer. But of course, this multi-asset direction is now very much on the radar of many, many companies that want to offer a listed product range as well as an OTC product range on one account with one back end, and be able to connect market data feeds and venues as well as OTC liquidity providers. So that's driving companies towards building their own infrastructure. But of course, that's an expensive endeavor, and in today's world, it can get away from you if it's the development cycle of the trader is quicker than it takes to actually build a platform. So a way of doing it would be to take a back-end first trading solution and actually, for example, what we do to help resolve this issue is to deploy our back end onto the brokerage, and then the broker is in control, and they can connect whatever they need, whatever asset class they need, whatever front ends they need, without having to go through all that development cycle. But it certainly is a turning point now in the industry where the product range that needs to be offered is to be considered, as well as time to market if you're going to develop your own solution.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. So, Luka, your thoughts on adapting this new technology? What's your overview on this? Yeah, and what is stopping brokers to adapt in terms of the new technologies that Andrew and Stelios has highlighted?
Can you clarify the question, please?
No, the new technology. So we're talking about what specific technologies brokers are actively implementing today. So you guys have a new technology which Of course, lot of
Yep.
firms are started adapting your system. So what's your point of view on this particular technology
Yeah, so
adaptation?
we're a trading platform, so I can speak from the perspective that we have onboarding brokers or prop firms. And I think everything revolves around earning more money. So we're in the industry, a business exists to earn money. So just a trading platform is a standard. And just having standard features just doesn't make sense, just another trading platform. So what we're doing is and the technology is available, a little bit more available, and with time it will just not make sense to focus on the tech. What we focus on is not just being another platform, and the brokers we're talking to now realize that just, for example, a simple share feature where a trader shares a trade can be so much more. So what they're interested in when we speak to them is how can they use the share feature on Tradelocker and convert a simple trader into an affiliate and earn more money. For some reason this was not possible before, but now on Tradelocker you can do that, for example. Then how can you access traders who were not available to you before, and if you're more transparent, if you allow us as a platform to show more information about your broker, which is interesting to the traders, you get rewarded, you get more traffic from our site, because we're now one of the biggest Forex traffic sites online. So we're looking into more growth. I don't want to go into specific machine learning and things like that and all the things in the back end. I think most people here are not using it and won't be that interested in it, but everybody here wants to earn more money, so I can talk about that more.
Thanks, Luka. See, last year we were talking about trends like brokers are moving multi-asset just to hedge the current market scenario, and of course we also talked about the other trend, which is the prop trading, which is coming up in the segment, right? So now coming to the next question, which is, what are the biggest hurdles preventing seamless multi-asset trading, and how are platforms solving them? So when it comes to data aggregation, when it comes to latency, when it comes to liquidity fragmentation, regulatory mismatches. So I want to get first, I've seen Dennis, can you add some point from your perspective?
Yeah, I can add something. Thank you. So I think especially about the different asset classes, there's often the challenge that missing the knowledge from the different industries, where I talked earlier about if you match or pair people from different industries, you access more knowledge. If you're coming from a world where you try to squeeze everything into a CFD, then you are challenged with multi-asset and different asset classes. So there is knowledge you just need to hire, in my opinion. And then about the data. So it's important, data is important for a broker. We see more and more that big brokers appreciate data, fast and especially correct data, validated data. So having access to real-time or near real-time data which is validated is important to understand your client, to understand the market, and then to make the right decisions. So I think these are the key challenge, and if you overcome those, you're a big step in the right direction. We're happy to help you with that.
Thanks, Dennis. Andrew?
Actually, I think this is a really topical matter right now, is that a lot of brokerages which have been established for some time and have got to a certain level of maturity have had to accommodate, as time has gone on, different asset classes and different demand for certain product ranges. We saw over the last 2-3 years there's been trends where options trading has become, maybe a year and a half ago, options trading became very popular. Now you see US equities, a lot of brokers asking how to do that, how to add that. And of course, what I think is really important is for retail brokerages to consider not being constrained by their technology. The technology should empower them, to give the hand control back to them rather than constrain them. What I mean by that is that as those brokerages have had to add such technologies, such asset classes over a period of time, they might have had to, maybe the existing technology they use doesn't support a listed product, so they would have to onboard another back-end trading platform to handle the listed products, and then connect it to a listed derivatives trading related front end, which means that you have a fragmented system. Not only a fragmented system, means that you have to have, it's quite resource hungry from an operational point of view, where you'd have to have operational staff in the brokerage handling different back ends, but you'd also have different front end platforms which relate to that, which means there wouldn't be any cross-selling opportunities as well. So the way to do it is to have a unitary system which is able to handle all sorts of asset classes from one back end. So you can connect futures, equities, OTC products, fixed income, cryptos, for example, to one back end and have less resource hungriness. Also be able to cross-sell the asset classes and maybe have CFD traders move up to listed products, and not be constrained in terms of what front ends you can add to or which market data feeds you can choose, and you should be able to add market data feeds that relate to listed products as well as liquidity providers for OTC products. And the important key factor here is that the brokerage should be in control of that and should have the choice over what asset classes they offer and how they offer them from one platform. It should be, now we're in an age where brokerages need to have full control over the technology stack rather than be constrained by the limitations of maybe a legacy platform that cannot accommodate new trends and new appetites for new asset classes as they come along.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks. So now coming to the, so when we talk about multi-asset offering, so I want to touch upon the AI-driven trading and search innovations which new bankers are doing. So nowadays, the trend is moving towards decentralization, right? So a lot of neo bankers, as part of their strategy, right, they offer investment as part of their portfolio. So how brokers are, and I just want to get your perspective from a tech perspective. So let's keep it crisp because we are running out of time. So how brokers can adapt to AI-driven trading and search innovations like Robinhood, Legend, and Perplexities. Yeah, probably Stelios, if you could add some insights there.
That's an amazing point, and I think everyone is interested in AI and machine learning. I think right now we live in the LLM era. You know, the large language models are dominating everything. We see ChatGPT and other tools, how useful they are. But I think the adoption around brokers is not that ideal. And the reason is because these technologies are so advanced and they are built in, huge companies with billion-dollar investments. So they have somehow outpaced brokers and smaller companies. So I think in order to try and make sense of what is happening, you need to have some sort of a strategy when it comes to AI. There is definitely a huge advantage, and there are models that can be harnessed. We see conversational agents that can be used, for example, to offer customer support or to assist with anything related to trades, execution, and funding, etc. We also see machine learning models being deployed as expert advisors in a way, trading on traders' behalf with some sort of success. But I really do believe that we have to invest in our talent, in our people, training them how to do, for example, prompt engineering, which is something that is becoming a sort of a job right now. And also how to use those traditional machine learning and AI models that are kind of outperformed by these large language models. So I believe investment in the people to train them is very important so that brokers can actually have an advantage. Otherwise, you will have to go to third-party solutions. and those third-party solutions might not always fit into what the brokers need.
Thank you, Stelios. Dennis, if you could keep it briefly, yeah.
Yeah, a quick thing I would like to add. So we talked about before that fit for purpose, and I think you pointed out where it's very useful. I would recommend everyone to, if you go into this area, throw a lot of resources at it. It's big and very risky, but it can be very beneficial. What I think is important is the data. So you have clean, validated data to do your work, because maybe you're familiar with the saying, garbage in, garbage out. So if the data isn't clean, you put yourself in high risk.
Thanks, Dennis. Andrew?
Yes, actually, that's a really, I think that it's going to go one step further. Quite clear to me that we're going to see what could be potentially a new type of operating. The trading platform could become an operating system in its own right, the front end, I mean, where in which you'll see trading platforms which have purely the trading platform with the graph and the ability for users to type in something that they want to access very quickly. You mentioned Perplexity. That now is becoming a search engine, which early adopters are moving to that instead of Google. So you can see the way that people are starting to move away from traditional search into AI-led, results-driven search. And of course, what we'll see is trading platform front ends, which don't have lots of settings all over them where you have to have all these drop-down menus and set it all up. You will just put into a bar, make this candlesticks. You don't even have to do it in very good English. You could just do 2 or 3 words. Make it candlesticks. Or send me the Tesla's, set a limit order on Tesla. You'll be able to send commands like that, and it will automatically operate the trading platform for you as if it's an operating system without you having to go through all these settings, which will reduce the time taken for people who are new customers to keep calling support. How does this work? How does that work? They will just type it in, it will do it automatically without having to go through all the settings, which will free up the time for brokerages to concentrate on their core business activities. And also you will see these you mentioned very, very importantly, these companies like Robinhood, who have launched their own trading platform, and some other neo-brokerages. You'll see that the trading platform front ends offered by retail brokerages will have to become a comprehensive operating system without bamboozling the user with any settings or anything like that. They can just use a voice command or type into the search bar, do this or get me this information, and it will all come up as rational information with all the relevant information on one side, and the trading platform will be able to have its settings changed at the touch of a button or a voice command. That's how I see it going.
Thanks, Andrew. I think when we talk about new banks and latest technology, gamification is also a key experience with the new Gen Z people would expect. So I would ask Luka here about social features and gamifications in trading platform, how it can attract new traders in the system through this experience here.
Yeah, it's not... Is it working? Yeah. It's not only about Gen Z, but everybody is on a broker for a reason, to earn money. So again, coming to first principles, if there was a magic button where a trader presses, and what would they like to get? They will never complain about earning more money faster without trading as much or spending as much time on the screen. So how can you achieve that? With AI, it's easier, and we already are doing a lot of it on Tradelocker. So what AI actually is a translator from English to code language. As soon as you can speak to a machine, as I speak now, it's game over for development and tech, and it's just gonna be talking to code. And that's why AI exists, to make something you imagine reality as fast as possible. So how can you get to that magic button where a trader gets what they want? Everything that's not possible yet, without a lot of knowledge, a lot of time, resources, will now be possible. So anybody, for example, on Tradelocker, what is already possible is if you have a code that you own, you can ask AI to translate it to Tradelocker, to Python, and run your bot on Tradelocker. Literally one button. What that does is or you can just code a new one or let the AI code a new one. And what that does, it's only going to make it better and easier and faster to create bots. After that, you'll be able to create the indicators and the widgets and turn your platform into your own. And whatever you like, whatever you imagine, it will be possible to get in a few buttons, in a few clicks. And it's commoditizing the whole market. So that means that you'll be able to do it with 10% of time, 10% of costs. And talking about gamification, what that does is, right now you have, let's say, 100 developers doing bots and selling bots. Now you have millions of people turning what they imagine into reality. Buy, sell bots, trade with them, figure it out. It's just going to gamify things. It's going to make things more interesting. And with every new update, you'll have an ability to create something even more interesting. And that would happen anyways. We just allowed this right now at this point. On Tradelocker, and other platforms are going to do this, and you're going to be able to do it in other places as well. But it's just all about how to make it as simple, as least time consuming, as profitable for the trader and everything else. Like, that's just the definition of value.
Thanks, Luka. That comes to the final question. I think with that note, right, we discussed about AI, ML, cloud-native architecture, gamification. So there are a lot of tech aspects that needs to be rebuilt and that needs to be thought through. But I need to get their final perspective, a crisp perspective for this audience here on build versus buy that everybody asks, right? Any broker or any technology provider, they want to start with such an exercise, right? So as experts, just give your one-line thought on this one, and we'll close the session open the session for questions. Dennis, you can start, yeah.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? It was too
Build
loud.
versus buy. Build versus buy. So the question is how... Yeah.
Thanks a lot. That's a question which is totally up to you, to your size and to how deep your pockets are, in my opinion. I had a very interesting discussion in Cyprus with Mili from Exness and Christian from Centroid. So there are different perspectives on this. And I'll give you an example from our real world. So I came from London to Dubai. I'm happy I didn't have to build a plane or the airport, so I use companies for this because I do not have the budget or the knowledge to do so. And I think that's with brokerage. You know what's your key knowledge. If you are good at marketing and good at risk management, focus on this and leave the technology to technology providers. If you see yourself as a technology company and you have the deep pockets and knowledge, then you take over more and more and internalize and grow. So it's more up to where's your focus, and are you able to provide the best solution yourself, or do you know someone who can be a partner with you and do the best solution for you, maybe with feedback. So I really mean a partnership. So, and I don't think we can do everything ourselves. So even we as a technology-focused company, we haven't built our own CRM, and there's a reason for this. So check what you're good at, where you earn the most money to get to your point, Luka. Where do you earn the money? And leave the things where other people are better to other people if you are in understanding that you are on the same way and you have the same understanding of where you want to go together.
Yeah, Stelios, what's your thought on this question? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great question, and thank you, Dennis, for the example, the case study. That was great. I think you have to choose your battles, and the battles you fight internally, and those battles that you're happy to offload or delegate to a third-party provider that is trusted and has a reputation of doing that repeatedly and successfully. So that's mainly the high-level decision-making. Then you have to consider the cost. Is that gonna? And cost it appears in multiple forms. I'm not talking about the value in money. I'm also talking about the value in terms of manpower, in terms of learning how to do that. There might be an exponential learning curve. For example, with AI, as we said, Like there is a big learning curve, an exponential learning curve. You cannot just take a developer and tell them, okay, now you're a data scientist. That doesn't work. So you have to choose where you invest and where you delegate. However, one thing that I would like to share with everyone is that from my own experience, it's always better to do yourself what you can, because you own the IP, you have more control over that, and if you can do it, you should do it. Otherwise, you should delegate that.
Thanks, Stelios. Andrew?
Yeah, absolutely right, Stelios. You mentioned an important point just there at the end. When you're looking for brokerages that don't necessarily want to go down the road of developing their own end-to-end system, which is a really major, as we mentioned earlier, it's a massive endeavor. It's very time-consuming, expensive. You can see some companies that have done that. Companies like CMC Markets, which famously a few years ago, it cost them over 100 million British pounds to build the next generation trading platform, and that was just that section of it. There was a previous generation, which, there's more expense. So to be able to become that autonomous is very expensive and time consuming. But if you are going to, as you say, go down the road of choosing a third party partner to do it with, it's really important to look at who is in control once you establish that relationship. Whether you as a brokerage have full control over the direction of your business, of your intellectual property, even small things like every time you issue a mobile application to a user, are you the publisher, or is it coming, or are you relicensing it from somebody else's app store, which doesn't give you control over the ability to keep that live or not, or if you are growing value of your own business by every time you bring a client on board and you're bringing them onto your company where you're in control of the intellectual property, and your brokerage can decide what products you offer, or which front ends you offer, or how you integrate certain third-party dynamic tools, or so forth. You should have the full flexibility as if you had developed your own system, because the technology company should be purely that, a technology partner, even down to things like agnosticity of liquidity or venue. Some companies will give you a platform, but they will insist that you have a certain liquidity. Should look towards getting your brokerage into a position where you are in the same position as companies like Interactive Brokers or Saxo Bank or CMC Markets, but without the time to market or cost of development. The back-end system that you choose should be empowering you. You should be able to be in control of it in full. That's really how I see it.
Yeah.
Luka?
Just to give maybe like a simple decision-making framework, rent first, then buy or build.
Yes.
Why rent first? Because you will learn what you need, if you need it, how much it costs, how difficult it is to develop, and then either buy or build, because you will already know if you need it, how much it costs and stuff like that, and only build if you can do it better. That's just my opinion.
Or you could build the components you need. You could rent something comprehensive and then build the components that you need to build and integrate.
Or a combination,
them. Yeah, absolutely.
Nice way to put it up and end the session. So anybody have any questions? So with the experts here. Yeah, yes, yeah.
Thank you for an interesting panel. It's Tom Higgins from Goldeye. My question is about cryptos and FX. So there's quite a few crypto-specific trading platforms that people have been developing over the last year or so. Do you think the future is having specific platforms for crypto, or will it be one unified platform for all the different asset classes?
Good question, Tom. I actually think that's very relevant right now, because we're certainly seeing I think there's a large switch towards crypto liquidity. A lot of brokerages taking a lot more crypto liquidity than they ever used to. I think that we will see things like specialist venues for that will integrate. So, for example, you see trading platform backends which can handle all asset classes, including CFD crypto and listed crypto. And you might even start to see companies going towards ECNs for cryptos and things like that, and connecting them via an API connectivity to reduce things like order rejection rates and so forth. But I do think that we will start to see all of those components centralized in one place alongside traditional asset classes in one platform, one account. How that's achieved, whether it's a direct connection or whether it's through a market maker or an ECN or some kind of crypto hub, rather like the solution that Goldeye provides, is something I think we as technologists should be providing the flexibility for companies to choose to integrate them. But I do think it will all end up in one place.
I would like to add something. Thank you for the question. So I think it should be in one system. So first of all, a good trading system is fast and light, and a lot of asset classes and the different, for example, crypto is post-trade, so it can be in one system if it's built correctly. And then the next thing is, neither I, when I was working in a brokerage, not the client, want to log into different systems to handle different tasks. So the key is to have this all together, and it should work if you do it correctly. So my opinion is, don't have 10 systems for 10 very similar tasks. And trading crypto and trading gold should not require you to log into different systems, either as a trader, not as a broker or a risk manager, in my opinion.
Absolutely. You have cross-asset margining as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Should be on one cross-margin account.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Thank you so much for this interesting discussion. I have a question. How can companies leverage big data to help with the decision making of the company and the products? For example, like the data that we accumulate from all the platforms that we have, how can it help us make decisions about what products we should build and what third-party integration we should do in the future?
I can give an answer from our perspective because we have a lot of traders and we look at the data and we look at what to build, which tech to build next. I would suggest to look at the obvious things. Like it should be, is the question which tech you should build or how to use the, yeah, okay. So I would say to make decisions that are very obvious. So if you see the data, combine it with what traders are talking about in your support portal or do interviews with them or in your community calls, and always combine it because the data itself, it'll be difficult to make this obvious, but with communication it will give you the confirmation that you need. So in Tradelocker we see that from the very beginning we had so many big decisions to make, and we only decided to make decisions that are very obvious because for the sole reason of what Andrew explained, how difficult and expensive it is to build a platform. And in general, tech can be very difficult, and one wrong decision goes in the wrong direction and you can basically close your company. So we only make decisions that are very obvious to us, and that wouldn't be possible with combining both the data and talking to a lot of people who actually use the platform.
Yeah, thanks everybody. I think we are about time to close this session. Thank you so much, panelists, all the members here sharing your thoughts. Thank you for joining us and listening to the session. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Muthu.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.